German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has urged Russia to use dialogue in order to resolve its current tensions with Ukraine. The Chancellor's comments came after a meeting with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy in Kyiv. Scholz will be flying to Moscow on Tuesday for talks with President Vladimir Putin. Germany has been stepping up its diplomatic and security efforts as fears of a Russian invasion of Ukraine grow. Berlin's deployed more NATO troops to Lithuania and has pledged over €2 billion of economic aid to Kyiv.
With more than $2 billion, we have made the Ukrainian economy more resilient and independent. In the face of foreign influence, we have ensured its autonomy and resilience. And I can assure you that we will continue this support with the same determination.
However, Ukraine's leader was keen to bring up Germany's energy dealings with Russia. President Zelenskyy called the controversial Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline a geopolitical weapon against Ukraine.
I emphasize that our position remains the same. We consider Nord Stream 2 solely through the prism of energy and security threats to us and the region. We clearly understand that this is a geopolitical weapon. That's why Ukraine needs energy security guarantees.
Well, let's go straight to Kyiv then, where Sasha Vakulina is standing by. Welcome to you, Sasha. To begin with, we know that Chancellor Scholz said earlier, it's a quote here, "If Russia again violates the territorial integrity of Ukraine, we will know what to do." Is it clear what will happen?
Well, Helena, it's not as clear as many hoped it would be. He really did not give much details on that, only saying that there is a package of sanctions that is being worked on and the decision to implement that package can be made any moment. He also said that he will tell Vladimir Putin that any invasion would have heavy economic consequences. Now, of course, the question here, would those consequences include anything regarding the Nord Stream 2 pipeline? That we do not know. Without naming this project, he said, though, that no one should doubt the determination and preparedness of Berlin to punish Russia in case of attacks and invasion.
Meanwhile, we've also been hearing from the Ukrainian foreign minister speaking to his US counterpart, Secretary of State Antony Blinken, about sending an OSCE mission to the east of Ukraine to monitor the separatist conflict there. What more do we know about that?
The special monitoring mission of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe have been in the east of Ukraine for years now, monitoring and taking record of everything that's been happening there, of all the developments. Now, of course, in the past few days, we've heard the calls from the US and other countries where they're urging their citizens to leave Ukraine immediately, saying go now as long as it's still possible to leave Ukraine. And of course, there are some reports that some of the Organization for Security and Cooperation members are withdrawing from the east of Ukraine and leaving the country. And this was, of course, of a great concern for Ukraine's foreign minister, for Ukrainian authorities. And that was the conversation that happened today when Dmytro Kuleba said that it is very important to keep that mission going.
All right, Sasha Vakulina in Kyiv. Sasha, thank you. In Moscow, Russia's President Vladimir Putin held security meetings with his defense and foreign ministers. Following the Kremlin's request for security guarantees from NATO, the president asked for an update on diplomatic negotiations. Now, although the US and NATO have not given the response Moscow was looking for, Sergei Lavrov said that there is still a possibility for a peaceful resolution.
In your opinion, is there still a chance to reach an agreement with our partners on key issues that cause our concern? Or is it just an attempt to drag us into an endless negotiation process that has no logical conclusion?
Mr. President, you have said more than once, and I have said it, and other representatives of Russia, that we warn against endless discussions on issues that need to be resolved today. But still, as head of the Foreign Ministry, I must say that there is always a chance.
All right, for more on this, let's go straight over to Moscow now, where we can speak to our Russia analyst, Galina Polanskaya. Galina, we just heard there Sergei Lavrov telling President Putin that there's more room for diplomacy. That's a notable change of tone, isn't it?
Well, indeed, it is a notable change of tone. Sergei Lavrov, in a televised part of his meeting with Vladimir Putin, actually said that there was a chance to get to some kind of security agreement with the West. At least that's what we understood, that Russia is keen to continue the dialogue. You heard what Vladimir Putin asked, and the answer was that there is always a chance, and not all of the opportunities are exhausted, and let's seek for more. So indeed, what we understand that Russia wants to discuss more, even though Sergei Lavrov underlined once again that the major security concerns of Russia were not answered, but there are absolutely some areas that it wants to discuss, some confidence building measures, limits for missile deployments in Europe, and etc. And Lavrov underlined that it was something that Russia wanted to discuss in the past, but its appeals were ignored, and the dialogue continues. Tomorrow, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz is in Moscow. Here he will meet with Vladimir Putin, and Sergei Lavrov will meet with the Foreign Minister of Poland, who is the OSCE chairman in office, Zbigniew Rau, and they will first of all discuss the situation in Ukraine and the situation around this mission of the OSCE in Ukraine. And Russia is also very, very worried of what is happening with the mission at this moment.
Galina, meanwhile, we also understand that there could be the potential for a key vote in the Duma tomorrow. Tell us more about it and crucially what it could mean.
Well, it is actually very interesting, as tomorrow the Russian lawmakers will vote on one of the resolutions that appeals to the Russian president to recognize the self-proclaimed republics in the east of Ukraine. Actually, there are two resolutions. First one will go directly to Vladimir Putin. The second one first will go to the consultations in the foreign and defense ministries. And the idea initially belongs to the Communist Party. Its leader, Gennady Zyuganov, in a statement that was published tonight, wrote that this would be Russian firm answer to the US provocations. And the Speaker of Duma in his telegram wrote, I quote, Kyiv continues not to comply with the Minsk agreements, and this poses threats and risks to the lives of Russian citizens and compatriots living there. You should remember that Russia initiated this easy procedure of receiving the Russian passport for those who live in the self-proclaimed republics, and now there are more than 600,000 of people in those republics that have Russian passports. So some analysts think that what we are witnessing here is a possible scenario of annexation. Others say that it is just a pressure from Russia to the West, because if it happens, it would be the end to the Minsk agreements, and those agreements are still very important to Russia.